a lot of amazing presentations on maritime surveillance, starting already with Philip, who's not back yet. But then we also had Lars from Sternmøller talking about AIS 2.0 with their own satellites. We had Emily from Havgard talking about these vibration sensors and trying to detect stuff under the ocean. We also had ISI showing some amazing SAR capabilities. So right now we are all thinking about maritime surveillance. I do the same pretty much every single day. My name is Kristian, and I come from Tordenskjold, a deep tech and dual-use software company that finds illegal ships using, among else, satellites and AI. So this is kind of like a maritime intelligence software company. And what we do is we find ships. We find them, figure out what they are, who they are, what they're doing, and in some cases what they're going to do in the future. Thanks to Emily, we are all quite clear on the topic of critical infrastructure and pipeline and protection of them, especially so fiber cables. In the past few months we have seen many incidents with these being either cut or at least damaged. So it's pretty clear to us all that we need to do something about this. I was at a meeting with the chief of the Danish Navy a few weeks ago, Rear Admiral Sørensen, and in this meeting he said that the most important tool in reducing these incidents is maritime surveillance. So according to the chief of the Danish Navy, the key thing you must do in order to reduce both the accidental and intentional accidents is to increase the maritime surveillance. Why? Because of deterrence. Great. But more generally, you need to do general maritime surveillance. That's the obligation of all maritime nations. For us in Denmark, this also includes the Arctic region around Greenland, so that's a pretty big area. Of course, you cannot use only patrol boats and drones there. You need to use other methods, in part for security and safety, environment, and all of these different things. Now, if you are focusing on the illegal activities, you cannot only use AIS, because turns out more than 20% of all large ships turn off their AIS transponder, effectively making them so-called dark ships. So you need other methods to monitor these dark ships. You can use ISI's SAR images, you can use vibration sensors, you can use other methods. But the thing is, you cannot only rely on one or two sensors to monitor all of these dark ships. No, in fact, you need to use and utilize as many sensors as possible in order to create this best maritime picture and find these dark ships. And this is exactly what we do at Tordenskjold. So at Tordenskjold, we developed the software to ingest, process, analyze, and fuse data from all of these different sources, from all of these different platforms. This includes AIS, SAR, acoustics, optical, and all of these different sensor technologies. So we envision ourselves as being the link between some sort of data provider and the customer. Here's a very simple schematic of how it works. We have Tordenskjold software in the middle. We have a software that can ingest and in some cases also acquire the data. Our software also then pre-process and handle this data, meaning that for each of these different sensors and even also platforms, we detect ships, we characterize ships, and in some cases we can identify who they are and what they're doing. So for each of these sensors, we have created numerous AI models that can do all of these different things, and we are then also fusing all of these different sensors, or the unified picture at least, into one piece of information that we give to our customers. Our customers can then do use whatever C2 system that they want. It can be their own proprietary service, or it can be the C2 system from SOAP or from Systematic, Thermac, Kongsberg, whatever. We do not actually care. We just provide this software that create this information that you can put into these C2 systems. Great. So what we then help is, we help avoid accidents depending on who the customer and end user is, of course. We can help them detect dark ships, and we can help them in some cases identify who did these damages. So these are our main technical capabilities: anomaly detection, ship detection, and ship information. Everything in order to detect dark ships. So since our main objective is to find dark ships far away, so not close to the shore, our two main data sources or platforms are satellites and acoustic data. So with the satellites, meaning RF data, AIS, SAR, and optical, we can of course detect ships on the ocean. And using different types of acoustic data, we can detect ships on the ocean surface, but also below. They do not need to actually do something illegal on the cable. We can also just monitor whatever ship is sailing close to these acoustic sensors. So in this sense, Tordenskjold is creating the software that is doing this maritime surveillance from space to seabed. Great. This is a pretty simple schematic of our business model. So Tordenskjold is a B2B software provider. Our customers are those that are already interested in maritime surveillance. Sometimes our customers are also the end users, but in most of the cases, they are not the end user. They are the big prime that Philip also talked about. So our customers are actually themselves either paying for the data or own their own proprietary data. We just provide them this software that can handle and work with this data, either as an integrated standalone solution or an API. For our defense-related topics, it's very, very good that we can have a fenced, integrated solution where you do not need to share a lot of information going back and forth, but for the civic cases, it's better with an API. Of course, we get money, but we are actually also getting data from our customers in order, of course, to improve these AI models. So we always have we like to think the best AI models. In some cases, when the customer has proprietary data, we always need to get a bunch of data up front. This is pretty neat for us. We're not only improving our models, we are also making it easier for us to do transfer learning into new sensors and indeed also different domains. Great. If you want to see a demonstration of this, how it works, I think you should contact us. You can either find us online or reach out to me afterwards. So, we are Tordenskjold, and we monitor legal ships using, among else, satellite and artificial intelligence, where we are creating this software to do the maritime surveillance from space to seabed. Thank you.
It's going to be easy. We have one more presentation.